Really, the purpose of this course is to get us centered, get us tapped back into life. Life has the strange ability to really create a lot of dissonance or a lot of noise. And sometimes we may lose sight of what life's really about. We may lose touch of what life's really about. And we're going to try through this course to really understand that life's something that is so positive and there's so much beauty in every single moment that we're alive. And we're going to try and understand how to galvanize that beauty, how to tap into life, that rather than feeling that we're constantly fighting, constantly having to change something, constantly being in a state of dissonance, we're going to try and readjust, maybe realign and see, is there another perspective? Is there another way we can engage with our lives? Okay? Now let's have a look. These sources I haven't translated into English. I will consider doing that, so you can give me feedback at the end, but I will be reading through all the sources and translating them for you. I think sometimes it's very beneficial to use the Hebrew because there's a lot of depth and secrets found in the actual lettering and in the words themselves. So what I want to start off with is a very simple term, a simple line, which is found in the first source. And these are 5 words, but I think these 5 words sum up really what this entire course is going to be teaching us. The 5 words are as follows. Imani kan, hakol kan.
Beautiful.
Which means the following. What does that mean?
I'm here, everything's here.
If I'm here, everything is here. What do you think that means?
Super fun.
Anyone? What does that mean if I am here, everything is here?
Makes me think that the world was created just for me, but yet I was making dust. So wherever I am, it's like here, it's what I need in a specific time and moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's here.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever pertains to you is around you.
You're here on earth.
No, if you're in the moment,
Mm.
if you're present in the moment, then you are there doing it.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to see that this specific phrase is going to oscillate in 2 different ways. The first concept is imani kan, hakol kan, which means if I am here, right where I am now, not thinking about the future, not thinking about the past, not thinking about what I'm unhappy about, not thinking what I could be happy about, just engaging with the now, with the present. Maybe you can, if you're writing, you can feel the pen in between your fingers. Maybe you can sense the energy in the room. Maybe you can just feel yourself breathing. So before we start, and in fact this is starting, I want everyone during the time that we're together, essentially it's every moment of our lives, to really tap into the now. Okay? What is the biggest impediment to discovering Hakol? So essentially when you enter into the now, you start to engage with something called Hakol. Hakol is everything. So that's crazy. If you think about what is everything, everything is an experience of, wow, I get to read the news about what's going on in America, in Peru, whatever I'm thinking about and looking at, and maybe I can achieve that fly there. That seems to be Hakol. But essentially that type of thinking and that type of methodology detracts our experience of the Hakol, of the everything in every moment. So when we stop and we engage with the simplicity, the silence of every moment, you feel a fullness. You almost feel there's an expansive divinity in every moment that encompasses our reality. Now, what is the biggest impediment to that? It's also found in the Pasuk. Im ani kan, hakol kan. The Chasam Sofer, a very, very deep thinker, mentions the following idea. He says, if the ani is here, all issues are here as well. What's the ani? If the I is here, I'm going to try and understand what is the I. If the I is here, if the ego is here, if the part of you that is constantly trying to almost create a separate existence to what is surrounding you, and separate existence is worrying about what you don't have and what is going to happen to you, and you're almost disagreeing with life. You're almost thinking that life is something separate to you and you need to master life. It needs to work for you. But essentially, what is it working for? It's working for the ani, the separate individual, the ani, the ego, the separate from life. What happens when a person thinks like that? Akolkan. So the Chasam Sofer says, every single fear, anxiety, depression, anger, angst, dissonance with the world stems from one thing. In English, it's one letter, I. In Hebrew, it's 3 letters, ani. Ani is the source of all issues. Now, it's really quite contrary to how we're taught in this world. We're taught the more you can instate your ani, the more powerful you are, the more money you have, the more prestige you have, the better equipped you are, the more your ani is perfect, then anxiety falls away, depression falls away, you feel fulfilled, life is good.
No.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's too self-centered.
So essentially what we're seeing here is the ani, these 3 letters, Aleph, Nud, Yud, is a shell that we create around ourselves because that is a mentality of what we believe we are. We think there's a conceptual framework of what am I? Well, there's a number of things we're going to learn about what we think we are and how this ego functions. But when you have created a shell and there's nothing inside and it's almost preventing you from engaging with life because it's a cage, can you ever be a person that is present? Can you ever be a person that is happy, that is resonating with life, if you essentially have a cage called the ani stopping you from engaging with life?
But what happens if you're like a happy-go-lucky person and you're still an I?
Yes, okay,
You still
so
have
good.
the ego to go with it.
Good. So we're going to understand what is the I. So essentially there are 2 different I's. There is an I with an external construction. And then there is a internal I, a capital I, a deeper I, which we're going to try and learn through the 4 rivers together about how to access and how to cultivate. So let's have a look at this second source. This is in the Siva Shalom. Sure. This source here is going to spell out to us the potential effects of living in an ani reality, in an I state. Nekudas hara hazois. Everyone got this source here? It's in the second paragraph. Nekudas hara hazois. This place, a nekudas hara is a place of negativity, but I'm going to call it an infection. This place of infection, it comes along to infect, to usurp and ferment the entire essence, the entire spiritual essence. But when we say spiritual essence, we talk about your essential spirit. When did spirituality become bereft or something separate to your spirit? So a person that is infected with the ani, their essential spirit is completely undermined. It's fermented. What's something that's fermented? It's turned into a something that's fermented. You know, you walk, I don't know if you walk past these little puddles that have been sitting there for years. There's like these bugs and smell and it's rotting. So your essence is almost rotten. Your spirit is rotten. Now, where does that manifest? This may manifest through your relationship between you and your Creator. You know what you feel? You feel that there's nothing with you. You don't feel that there's a Creator, there's no God with you. And you might believe in God, but you feel there is kilometers of distance, light years away. Where is God? Up in the heavens. So I don't know where, but as far as possible from you. That's not true. You know where God is? Where?
In your Mishkan.
Inside of you. In front of you. You are essentially a manifestation of God. Now, if you actually appreciate that and understand that everything you engage with in life is a part of that manifestation, then you are resonant with life itself. You're resonant with yourself. Now, a person that is stuck in the ani, in the infection, the fermentation of the ani, of the ego, the individual, you feel that there is a massive partition, a huge wall that stands between you and your creator. Your father or mother, whatever you want to refer to God as, it's a real definition in heaven. That's the first place where it is a telltale sign that you are living in your ani, when you feel distant from your creator. You feel there's a massive, massive wall. I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'm not religious enough. I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing that right. And you almost create in your mind that God is so distant from you. That's the first one. Second one. A person that is egoic, a person that lives in their ani, is very much affected in their relationship with people. She'enoi ra alacher. Your eyes are tinted to be completely negative. The only thing that you see, v'roye b'chol echad rak es hara shaboy. The only thing that you see in people and around you is what is bad. What people have not done for you. What people have done, but only in a negative way. Who said what to me? Who didn't say what to me? The relationships that you have with your spouse, the relationship that you have with your children, the relationship that you have with your friends, with your community, with your society is about what isn't going right. Because essentially what the ani is doing is it is decapitating you, or it is removing you from resonating with life. And the only way that it can suffice in feeding itself is by creating you as a separate entity to what is happening around you. So if you're not constantly separating people from you, from what is wrong and what is going bad, then the ani is dissolving. So when the ani is hungry, the ego is hungry, it's going to look, what can I find that's bad? Well, who's doing something wrong? What's going to go wrong? Who is going to upset me? That's how the ani works. That's the second state. You see everything in a bad light. Everyone's bad, horrible, everything's going wrong, no one likes me, and in fact everyone hates me, and look what they're saying about me. That's the ani. It loves that. It loves to look at a pessimist. But the pessimist is the essential egoist. He's the essential infected being that has the ego of, it's not to say, you have people that are detailed, or you have people that are attuned, and they're attuned to things. And they can notice things, but that same level of being attuned can be, now I can notice something that's amazingly beautiful, even in a state of complete dissonance. There's a story of two rabbis are walking, and they saw a corpse of an animal that was rotting, been there for months, just rotting. And one individual turns to the rabbi and says, look how disgusting this is. Look how disgusting this corpse is. And then the rabbi says, yes, but look how beautiful his teeth are. White, beautiful teeth. So the way that you look at things in life is also an indication as to, are you flowing from your ego, or you this manifestation from infection or negativity, or this positive resonance where you've dissolved your ego. The third one is a very important one, and it's not spoken about enough. But what happens to such an individual is Eino ahov umemela eino gam eino oihev umemela eino gam ahov. We're in the third line there at the end. Ukashein ruach habrios noichem eino gam ruach hamakem eino noichem eino. He's a person that doesn't love, or she's a person that doesn't love. And a person that doesn't love. What's love? What do you
say I
define?
love you is I want the best for you. To say
That's maybe care. I think it's part and parcel of loving something. What does it mean to love
To
something?
give.
To give is a manifestation of love, and it can also lead to love. To appreciate something. I can appreciate a favor. Doesn't mean that I necessarily love that person.
I was supposed to be if we're talking about a verb or a noun. What do you talk about a noun?
Yes.
What is love?
To be a person that is a person that loves. So what it means to love.
Is to be egoless.
Yes, or egoless, but what is love? Love, if you think about the love you have to your children, or love that you have to whatever it may be in your life, if it's someone you're related to, or you love a certain hobby, you internally resonate with something. There is like a magnetism, there's a connection, there's like your Bluetooth or whatever it is, just connection, to utilize that terminology. There's a connection, a resonance. That's what love is. You resonate, you fall in love with someone, you resonate with your children, you resonate with something. There is an internal love that's there. So a person that is an oihev, a person that is a lover, yeah, it doesn't mean you're a promiscuous individual that's running rampant. It means that you resonate with life, you resonate with people, you connect to people, but not because they're there to serve you, but you just connect. You connect to life. Now, a person that is in that state is loved. You understand? A person that is constantly abrasive to life and people is not loved. A person that is connected and resonates is loved.
It depends on their circumstances. Like past experiences. They might not have been loved as a kid.
Mm.
And now they don't know how to receive that.
Yes. Some people don't know how to receive love. And sometimes those same people don't really know how to love because they actually don't really exist in themselves. And this all comes back to existing in the ani. When we have sort of brought up in ways that we don't appreciate the internal essence that exists there, that's not based on your accomplishments, that's not based on your appearance, that's not based on people's opinions. When there's just a simple appreciation of you, just being, if we don't develop that, then we quickly look for the closest thing to us. So what's the closest thing to us? My car. What's the closest thing to my achievements, my appearance? And then slowly we create a callous cage around us and we forget how to engage with life. We die. Essentially we die. We're enclosed or encloaked in this ego and we're dark and we don't know why. And the final one, which is really coming to this point, is in the second last line, the gum. Im shoresh hara shaboy b'midas shebein adam la'atzmai gavalt. This is a really dangerous one. If this infection spreads to the most dangerous of all, which is the relationship between you and yourself. Between you and yourself. What does that look like? Shehu shari tamid b'atzvonus beragzonus b'kas. You are constantly inundated and drowning in depression, in anxiety, in anger, what is going wrong. But in the deepest way, you don't have patience for yourself. You don't have compassion to yourself. You can't stand yourself. V'chol chayav tmururim ha'etzvonos ve'atzlus oichlen es kol chelek ruchani shaboy. And your entire life is embittered with depression and laziness, a lackluster for life. You don't want to go anywhere because you're so scared. Everything's, who's going to be there? The weather, nothing's sort of sorted out in the right way. I'm so nervous. What's going to happen to me? My gosh, what's going to be? So scared of life, And until the individual is consumed. But what is consumed? their spirit is consumed inside of them. Their spirit is completely consumed. V'chayev hem bli sipok. Their lives have no meaning. Bli chazon. There's no vision, no clarity. V'lo shum tochen. So the sipok is actually a word that represents a state of fulfillment. State of fulfillment. There's no fulfillment. You almost feel like, all right, I'll go to sleep tonight, and then tomorrow everything will be better. And then you wake up and it's not really. And then you say, like, tonight I'll wake up, I'll go to sleep, and then tomorrow will be better again. You just go through the same cycle of negativity, and maybe one Sunday comes, everything will be better, and then Sunday comes, nothing really goes the way you plan it to go, and then you're back to the week again, and then what happens. So then there's no toichen, there's no substance to life. Okay? So we can understand what these three little letters, Aleph, Nun, Yud, can do to us. This ani is a really messed up place to be in. To live in this egoic form, this egoic identity, this illusory creation of the self. The external I is a place of caged, unfulfilled, dark reality. Now what we're going to try and do through the four rivers is we're going to try and understand where is the ego manifesting in us. So the initial stage that we're going to need to engage with is to try and understand where are we going rife? Where are our internal definitions potentially a little bit off center? How do we calibrate our identity that we now have settings? You have settings on your phone. How do you calibrate your settings to life? Any questions? Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to learn a little bit of Kabbalah. Has anyone learned Kabbalah before?
I think we know which class was the PDM, but that's as much.
Okay.
Because
You have a bit. Okay, let's have a look. If anyone gets scared, you can just let me know. Okay, it says as follows in the this Kabbalah is found. Do you know where it's found? In Genesis. Can you imagine that? Bereshit. Okay, so I'm going to read to you the map of our ego. Okay, this is a map of the self, and it's all found in a few verses in the Torah. This is going to map out our identity. It's going to map out where we may go a little bit wrong and how we can recalibrate. Source 3. V'nahar yoytze me'eden lahashkes esagan. There is a river that extends out from a place called Aden. Does anyone know what the word Aden means in Hebrew? What?
Eden, Garden Eden.
Eden. What is Eden?
Perfection. Perfection.
Adin is like perfect, but it's a place of tranquility. It's a place of serenity. That's essentially what Eden is. Everything is perfect. Everything is tranquil. And there is a river that flows out from this place of Aden. Lahashkes esagan. To feed or to water the gun. What's the gun? The garden. Umesham yiparet, and from there, i.e. the garden, this river splits off. V'haya le'arba rashim, and it splits off into 4 different rivers. It's brought down in Kabbalah that the place that it splits off from in the garden is where?
Top of the mountain, probably. I don't know. I haven't been it.
Where do you guys think? Where do you think it splits off from?
The tree.
Excellent. Which tree?
The tree.
The tree of knowledge of good and evil. The Eitz Hadas Toiv V'Ra. And essentially, the time that the ego was born inside of us was the time that we decided to go against life. When life itself, which was God, the expansive universe, which essentially is God, came along and said, don't eat from this tree. And we said, we know better than you, God. We're going to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. that is when something was impregnated into us. We were born now, we were infected with this infection called the ego. And the ego is essentially a state of continual oscillation between good and evil, clarity and lack of clarity. And from there it splits off into 4 rivers. What are those 4 rivers? And this is the 4 rivers. So we're going to, on this course, be going through each river, becoming acquainted with it. Some of the rivers are really bad rivers and really dangerous places to live and really places of non-existence. And there's one river that we're going to identify with to understand that it actually forces or slowly flows back to its source. It comes back to Aiden, comes back to tranquility. So before we go into these 4 rivers, essentially what are we trying to access in life? So when people say, what are you striving for in life? What do you want in life? What would you say?
Peace of mind.
Oh, so many people would say, I want happiness. So what's happiness? If you think about it, happiness could manifest in, let me go shopping, so experience some happiness, but underlying that happiness is a peace of mind that you maybe get for a millisecond or 3 seconds or maybe 5 minutes while you're probably just taking that item or trying it on or whatever it is. Maybe you try it on later, it's also giving you a little bit of happiness, but you're trying to tap into some sense of peace of mind. That's essentially what human beings want. That's essentially what we want for our lives, is to be tranquil, to feel connected to life, to feel serene, to be having a peace of mind. And that's really what Aiden is. Aiden is a state of consciousness, a state of peace of mind. And Hashem has facilitated through the eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil that we have free will. Our free will manifests in a way that we have 4 choices. These are the 4 rivers. Shem ha'echad, the first river, Pishoinhu. The first river's name is Pishoin. Hu ha'soivev es kol eretz ha'chavila, and it surrounds the land of Chavila, asher sham hazahav, and in that land of Chavila is gold. Uzahav ha'aretz hahi toiv shama b'doilach ve'even ha'shoyam, and the land contains very good gold. And there also is the B'doilach and the Even HaShoyam, 2 very special stones. That's the first river, a river that surrounds gold.
What is Even HaShoyam? The
The Even HaB'doilach, the Even HaShoyam. These are 2 different stones. There are different opinions as to what they are. The Shem HaNahar HaSheni Gichoin. The second river is called Gichoin. Hu HaSoivev es kol Eretz Kush, and it surrounds the land of Kush.
Is there a direct translation of Pishon word?
No. There are some understandings of what these rivers are. Like the last river that we know is, they say, is the Euphrates River, but we'll get there. But at the moment, we call it Pishon. Then there's a second river called Gichoin. V'shem anar hashlishi Chidekel. The third river is called Chidekel. And it goes before Ashur, Assyria. Vanar Avihu Paras. And the 4th river is Paras.
Which is Iran.
Well, they say it's the Euphrates. But,
So these are actual rivers, not synonyms for.
Oh, yeah.
good. So what does this mean for us? What this means for us is as follows. We understand these are actual rivers. We want to go deeper. And we want to understand that these rivers are 4 rivers that exist inside of us, our consciousness. These are conscious states of identities or being unconscious. So if you live on certain rivers here, you may live in a state of being unconscious, depending on which river you're in. So you've almost, these rivers could be rivers of infection. According to Kabbalah, 3 of these rivers end up in places of nothingness. One river goes out into the desert and just is lost there. The water just evaporates. Another river flows out off into the sewerage or whatever it may be. That none of these rivers, apart from one, actually leads anywhere.
But yet you can control these rivers.
But yet you can live on one of these rivers, and it's all about trying to ascertain what rivers are flowing inside of you. And then am I really being taken by one of the rivers to a place that I don't really think I want to go anymore. I want to go back.
Yet you can control the flow.
We're going to try and, we can't control the flow of it, but you can control which river you want to engage with. You can control where you want to identify with, how you want to engage with life. What is the state of conscious presence that you want? We'll identify these. This is really just a map. Today's an introduction, and then we'll try and really go into each river and understand each river. Vayikach Hashem Elokim es ha'adam v'nicheu began Eden. It says that Hashem took man and placed him in the Garden of Eden, la'avda l'shomra, to serve and to guard. Vayitzav Hashem Elokim al ha'adam ne'emar kol eitz hagan oicha toicha. Hashem says, eat from every fruit. U'me'etz hadas tov v'ra lo toicha memenu. But from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, don't eat from it. Because the day that you eat from it, you will surely die. Now what that means, according to the Malbim, which we're going to enter into now, fourth source. What?
That is spiritual.
Oh, so what does it mean that you will surely die? So,
The rot.
there's a rot. But surely dying is a constant state of no, no, like a state of my life's gonna be so much better now. What?
Disappointment.
Disappointment. A state of continual, incessant disappointment. That's death. So it may be in the form which we'll understand from the Malbim. Each river gives you a feeling of continual death, internal death. An experience of constantly being disappointed with life.
And 4, just 3.
We'll see. Okay, this is the Malbim. The Malbim explains the following. Everyone okay up until now? Are we surviving?
Yeah, but just to point out for next time, it's much easier for us layman with vowels.
No, I was just going to say.
Vowels, yeah.
I can read without vowels, and I can't read and
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 4, the Malbim.
You should be able to.
No, I can't read it now. I need to pick up.
The Malbim says the following.
What is the Malbim?
The Malbim is a interpretation on the Torah from Romania. Lived in the 18th century. Okay, this is where we're going to start to get a little bit deeper. The rabbis explain that there are states of being inside of an individual. Shem Hayalahem the Moira Derech Vitamid Halchu Asfas Nachalim if you photo Pnei Adama. We're in the third line. Why rivers? What do rivers represent? So, when individuals classically try and find a place of civilization, a place of settling, what do you follow?
Water.
Follow water. You follow the river. So these places, the rivers represent inside of us. Where do we settle? How do we find this place that you described, Audrey, of peace of mind? How do we discover a place where we can settle? Finally feel, now I'm settled with life. Not that I have to work, and then finally I sleep, and then I'm not settled. I'm only settled because I'm unconscious. That's where I'm settled. I'm settled when I've drunk some alcohol, or I'm distracted from something. Maybe when I watch a Netflix and now I'm distracted entirely from life, I'm settled. But now that I have to engage with life, I have to drive around in this world, I have to work, I have to engage with people, I'm unsettled. Maybe when I'm blocked up in my little cocoon, in my cave, and I'm doing my own things and I'm distracted from life, potentially I'm settled. That doesn't sound like a very settled place for me.
Are the rivers then representing the searching vehicle?
Well, Torah. Isn't Torah described as a river? As water?
It's Torah is described as water, but we need to try and understand essentially these states of being inside of us. These are going to see a much clearer manifestations, because when you say Torah, what is Torah? What is Torah? I mean, is Torah just sitting and learning Torah? Many people just do that, but Are they conscious beings? You can have a person that sits and learns a lot of Torah, but they're not really in a state of living. They're just constantly also anxious, depressed, sad. So we have to understand what is Torah. But let's first understand ourselves. As it says that an individual follow these rivers to try and find a place to be settled. Key, where after there's three little dots. In Yonei ha'adam, v'aliyu lusav, achrei achlum eitadas, nechlaklim arba. After we ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we were split off into four. Yesh haroitvim achrei hahoin va'oisha limlois betem kesev v'zav v'segulus melachim v'choishvim shezeh kol tachlisam v'ashram. There are people that think that the purpose of life is to fill their homes with beautiful furniture, have gorgeous jewelry on them, beautiful cars and clothing. And the more that they can present themselves as important and as perfected, as perfectly streamlined in whatever way that you define, then they've accessed life. Now this is represented, we'll see in which river. Kasa Shnia, the second river. Haroidfim achar taivas amasagev adoinim. The second river represents individuals that think that life or the place of tranquility or peace of mind can be accessed through experiences. Experiences can be in the form of lusts, could be in the form of food, could be in the form of entertainment, desires. But desires in the sense of experience, travel could be another experience.
So you're only happy when you're traveling?
They believe, we'll see what that means, but these are places that if you ask a person, what's the purpose of life? What is an individual that is highly accomplished, that really is living a tranquil life? So the first two places will look at their homes, look at how they've amassed wealth and what they've presented themselves to look like. And then we say, what are the experiences like as well? How much nice food are they eating? Which restaurants are they going to? How much are they traveling? How many amazing things can they experience? Who are they meeting? What are their friends like in terms of their experiences around them? What are those things taking place? That's the second and first river. Or Kas Shlishis. We're going to unpiece all of these rivers. This is just a map. Or Kas Shlishis haroid fimachrea kavoid meshor, which means that you chase after honor and an ability to reign over individuals, an ability to control people around you. Power. Again, an elusive concept here. Okay? An individual can be very, very low in terms of their place in society, so to speak. They can be really, nothing. But their approach to life is, as we've described earlier, very negative. Everything is going not the way they wanted to go. Okay? That's a place, no one's honoring me. This person didn't smile at me when they gave me this thing, or they didn't greet me, or this person at the teller, wasn't kind enough or courteous enough to me, etc., etc. Ve'elohem shloisha rashim. These are the three heads. Shehei makor lekol ra'is adam. This is the source of all evil and negativity and pain and suffering in life. What are these things known as? They are known as the three things that take you out from the world. Shloisha devarim.
So you say it's the tree of good and evil, so maybe this is the evil roots.
100%, these are the evil roots, but we classically define these as positive roots, and we have ways of engaging positively with these things. We're not saying you shouldn't engage with life. We're not saying you shouldn't amass wealth. We're not saying that you shouldn't have experiences. What we're saying is, what do you define as the way of accessing serenity and peace of mind? Okay, that's an important point to identify with. What do you hinge your life on in order to have peace and serenity? That's important to identify. And what he's saying here is that there are three things based on the Mishnah and Avos. Three things it says take you out of the world. What do you think it means to be taken out of the world?
Remember yourself.
Not yourself, what else? You're not?
You're not there.
You're not there.
You are.
That's how we started, remember? You are not here. There are three things that cause you to not be here, now, where you are. It could be while you're driving and you just have your hands on the steering wheel and you feel and you're just present and you're in the moment. It could be when you're with your kids. It could be when you're going to take something from the grocer and you're picking something up and putting it into your trolley. Or you're standing in line and something's taking you out of your life. And essentially what it means to be taken out of the world is that you live in a state of non-existence. You live almost like you're a hologram in this world. You're around, but like, what did I actually do? What am I actually alive? Do I actually feel alive? Or do I rely on these hectic things in my life in order to make me feel alive? And what are those three things?
Anger.
Kina is jealousy. Kavod is the state of honor, but a state of being appraised and approved by others, but more so having power. Feeling that you are in control of people around you, that you can control people around you because they like you. So I can get people to do what I want. I feel supported by people in a state that they're there to hold up my ego. That's kavod. And taiva. Taiva is desire. Desire in the sense that we have experiences. What cool experiences, interesting, expansive experiences can I have?
So what is the last one?
So three things. Jealousy, desire, and honor.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but we're going to have to really define these properly because they are very superficially defined and we can't address them properly if we don't understand them, what they are doing at their core. But they essentially take you out of life. And so he explains, I'll just summarize it here, but he says, through chasing after wealth, you're never appreciating what you have in front of you. So you might have the nicest car, you might have the nicest home, that's perfect for you. It's getting and doing everything it needs to do. You can't ever appreciate it because you're always looking over your shoulder at what someone else has.
Isn't that right, Kurachtai?
100%. Kina, that's kina, jealousy. But jealousy can manifest in many different ways. A person's position, a person's life circumstances, who they're married to, what their kids, how their kids behave, what their job is, etc., etc. General circumstances of life. If I look at that person, he's just got so much better than me. But if you realize that if everyone is in that state, is thinking about someone else, then they're no different from anyone because no one's really living their life. The second one we know is desire. Desire is a burning reality inside of a person. It's a place that burns up and then the fire fades away very quickly. It doesn't really give a person much. And then the final one, to be constantly in a state of dominion over others, he says it leads a person to war, to death, to killing, and to destroy, which is a place of constant dissonance. You're in a state of fighting. Your hands are always up like this in fists. Who can I protect myself and who do I need to punch? Because everyone is against me, life is against me, people are against me. The final river, which is the river Pras, he explains, is the only river that is sanctified to Hashem, which means it flows back to tranquility. And is a state of true consciousness.
Where do you see Pras? I mean, I'm just looking for it in the...
Yeah.
Just want to see how it's spelled.
Pras is here.
Oh,
Okay, what I want to conclude
that's
with...
why I had a mistake before here we go.
Yeah.
I thought it was Paras when you said Pras.
Paras.
I mean, with the summer.
Yes.
That's why I thought it was in red.
No, not Paras,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it was
Okay, so I want to just skip there to the final We'll do number 5 and then I'll quickly finish off 6. So number 5 tells us a story. Number 5 is an agadata. An agadata is a story which enclosed in the story are very secretive insights into life. And the story is about an individual called Hurmin, the son of Lilith. Lilith is really, according to Kabbalah, Adam Arishon's, Adam's first wife. And she was a demonic force of negativity. And she gave birth to an individual called Hurmin. Hurmin, the son of Lilith. And Hurmin, the son of Lilith, is described to be surrounding a specific village. We're not going to go into that now. But the point that I want to make to you is the following. There's a part that says the following. Listen to this. Zimna Chada, which is in the second line. One day, Have Mesragan Leitarte Kudunoisi, he was saddled, or he saddled 2 mules. But these were mules that were infertile. They couldn't have children. Lekayamin, Atre Gishre de Rognag, and they were standing on 2 sections of the river Rognag, which is a river which represents wax. The Sha'or Mahai Lahai Mahai Lahai, and he was jumping from one ox or one mule to another over the river. The Nakitre Mazge de Chamara Biyade, and he was holding 2 cups of wine in his hands. Or Moirik Mahai Lahai Mahai Lahai, and he was pouring from one cup to another. I don't know how you do that, especially that the cups are completely full. But he was able to pour from one cup to another. Not one drop dropped down to the earth. What does that mean? What it means is the following. A person that lives on the 3 rivers, which we discussed, not talking about the river Euphrates, Pras, but a person that lives in an egoic ani state. It's interesting to understand that ani is also 3 letters. Okay? So when a person is in a state of ani, what they do is they have to oscillate from river to river. It's not enough to live on one river because you quickly realize, wow, I'm feeling really dry. So what that looks like is the following. So you jump. So you jump from shopping, which is the first river, to the second river, which is experience. So you go shopping, that's like a nice high, and then, or you bought something, or you thought about what to buy, and then you realize, whoa, I'm still not feeling a state of real peace of mind. Oh my gosh, what do I need to do? I need to go out for dinner. So I need to go and have an experience. I need to eat something, I need to be entertained by something, and then I realize, oh, that's not enough now as well, so now I go to kavod. What is my relationship to others? Who's valuing me? Who's giving me a state of feeling important? But that's not enough. So you jump from river to river. It's a constant oscillation, which means that this is the meaning of Hurmin jumping from mule to mule. It's not enough to stay on one mule. Remember, the mule gives you no children, meaning no fruition comes out of these activities. The only fruition is by juggling. So he's juggling these cups of wine, but he doesn't want one drop to fall. Because a person in this state is so empty that they hang on to everything. They are so sensitive about their physical surroundings. They are so sensitive about their experiences. You know, these people that go to the restaurant and, you know, the service is not quick enough, or something's not cooked perfectly to their liking, or the coffee's not hot enough, or whatever it is, they go mashuga. Or you have an individual that are so sensitive about everyone. You know, what this person said to me is so upsetting. They don't want one drop to fall because they are so empty and they need to hold on to those drops. So essentially, to conclude, this is the final source that we have, source number 6, in which we know the 3 cardinal sins, the 3 things that we say yaroig val yavo, which means you have to give your life up for rather than committing. What are they? What are they?
Adultery.
Adultery. Idolatry. And Shlichus damim, which means to kill someone.
Yeah.
Okay. Now these three cardinal sins are linked into the three rivers. So, idolatry, which is serving idols, adultery, which is a state of promiscuity or engaging physically in an improper way, or the final one, which is taking someone else's life, are all sourced in these three rivers. The first one, the first river, which we described as the river surrounding gold, is the river that represents our desires for money, for amassment of beautiful things around us, which again essentially is not problematic when it's done in the right framework. But when we're using that as our semblance of peace of mind, we have to understand that the world itself is constantly in a state of erosion and oscillation. And if we premise our entire being and definition on these things, we're in a constant state of trance, constant state of transience. And thus, that river of gold can cause a person to become jealous. Jealousy essentially is all about who looks perfect or more perfect than the other. How perfect do I look? Now, if we're engaging with life that way, if we're engaging with people that way, nothing's going to stop me if I don't like someone from killing them. If it's all about who looks perfect, well, I'll knock that person out. You know, like they have in Russia now. You know, you have these individuals that go against the political infrastructure that's there. You get knocked off. So if you want to fight against me, against my perfection, I'll stop at nothing until I am more perfect than everyone else. But the concept there is it's never enough, because the essential self is not there. The emptiness is always there. So you buy something, it might be perfect, but it's never good enough. You always need something more. If you have 5 cars, you need 10. If you have a holiday house, you need somewhere else as well. If you have beautiful food, well, it's not healthy or good enough or tasty enough. So your circumstance is always not good enough because you're not perfect enough, but essentially, you're right, you're not perfect enough because you've forgotten who you are. So how can you ever perfect something that you don't know you are? That leads to killing. The second one is the river of desire, the river of experience, the river of expanding one's experiences, which we'll go into. These, I'm telling you, literally the tip of the iceberg, what we're saying here. We're not even going into the rivers properly. This is a map. So don't try and understand them entirely. You can get a brief overview. The second river is the river of desire, which is experiences, and that is something that is really unhealthily experienced or expressed in adultery, where a person feels that the experiences that they have immediately to them, it's not enough for them. They need something beyond. They need something that is completely problematic, out of the general framework. They're so bereft of true taste and enjoyment in life, they need to go beyond something that's allowed them. And they'll go and try and reveal something that is completely prohibited. That's adultery. And the final one, a state of, it's all about me, all about my strength, all about how I, control things around me, is idolatry at its core. It's serving the I. All of these are serving the I, but it's about serving me. How can I further concretize, emphasize me? And that's experiencing idolatry, serving the I. And essentially what that was serving idols was all about what spiritual ideologies can I engage with that will be there to serve me, that will allow me to do whatever I want. Where the Torah comes along is all about how do I nullify myself to life? How do I see myself as a participant, not even a participant, one with life? That means nullifying myself. That's what avoida is in the Torah. And essentially, this is what it means. The world stands on 3 pillars: Torah, avoida, gimlus hasanim. The world stands on Torah, which is trying to understand what Torah is, avoida, which is service, and gimlus hasanim, kindness. And that's the 3 pillars of the world. essentially bringing us to a state, back to a state of presence, of resonance, and peace of mind. Okay, these are the concepts, and this is the beginning of the 4 rivers. Does anyone have any questions?
Murdering is more than cut someone's throat to murder. It's also to murder the soul, to murder their.
Yeah, it's a state. If you understand what murdering is, it's feeling that I need to instate myself over another, to deplete another, that someone else has dominion over me, that I'm, that I feel that it's always a comparison, so I don't want someone to compare against. I'll just knock them out.
Just what it is. You said the first river was the one surrounded gold, which leads to murder.
Yes.
And the second one was
The second river is a
desire,
river that surrounds
of
Kush.
experience.
So Kush is described as a place of immense heat. There's a very strong sun there, and that's the experience of heat. That's desire. And then
And
the
the third
final
one
one
is
is Kidmas Ashur, is coming
What's the third
first. It's the third one or the second one?
Third
Third one is Kidmas Ashur, which Kidmas Ashur comes before Assyria, and it's referred to as the river of Hidekel. So the first one is Pishoin, then the second one is Gichoin, then there's Hidekel, and then there's Pras. And Hidekel is this river of Kidmas Ashur. First being Ashur is the place of the Assyrians, very mighty people. It's all about might and power and prowess.
And what do you call the fourth river?
Fourth river is the river of Pras.
No, but I mean,
It's referred to as a river of still, silent serenity.
But the word desire can be referred negatively for all 3 of the first.
What do you mean?
Because desire, you always want to desire the best of everything.
Yeah, we'll try and understand these 3 rivers. Essentially, all of these things that we engage in life are all sourced from good. But we're trying to see when it's stepping and feeding the ego, the ani, it's bad, it's dangerous, it's negative. When it's coming to just connect back to its source. So you could be eating, but eating can be done in a very pure, beautiful way. You can be relating to someone. You can go shopping, and it can be the most beautiful, deep spiritual experience. Yeah? So everything in your life is a state of resonance. It's not, this is wrong, I'm putting up barriers. It's how do I engage with life in a real, truthful way that I'm tapping back into the source.
And what about the 3 pillars of Torah, Avodah?
Gimlus Chasadim, which is kindness.
Of course.
So we'll try and understand how those purify or calibrate these rivers and allow us to come back to that source of Eden. Okay?
Thank you.